is Jalen Rose.
What up, dog?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
Together, we are Jalen Jacoby. What do we do?
We get a people.
Yes.
What they
I'm
want.
gonna pass out one day, and I can't wait. Last night in Los Angeles, the Toronto Raptors, East leading Raptors, started a very tough West Coast road trip in Los Angeles, and they kind of made easy work of the Clippers, who are having a great season. Van Vliet had 14 assists. Here's the thing, though, Jalen Rose. They did all of that without Kawhi Leonard in the lineup. Are you surprised they made such easy work of the Clippers without Kawhi?
Well, they're 6-1 without Kawhi. And what that shows the casual NBA fan is the Toronto Raptors really have depth.
Yes.
So Kyle Lowry's been an all-star amongst the league leaders in assists. Serge Ibaka has done a terrific job being more efficient, scoring the basketball, playing the small ball center. But when you go deeper into their lineup, Pascal Siakam.
That's my guy.
Giving them versatility up front on both ends. Fred Van Vliet, one of the best backup point guards in the game, had double-digit assists. OG Anunoby can lock down and improve score. Valanciunas. So, the Toronto Raptors are a complete basketball team, and they continue to show that. And it was impressive given the Clippers their largest deficit of a loss this season.
Well, that's what happened on the floor, okay? But there was a little something going on off the floor because one of our colleagues, a gentleman by the name of Brian Windhorst, wrote a very interesting article that was published on ESPN.com, and part of it was this. He wrote, quote, "The Clippers are rather transparently obsessed with chasing Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant in free agency next summer. It's clear from their books. They've cleared a path to 2 open max salary slots. It's clear through their actions they've been treating the two like college recruits and sending executives just to watch numerous Warriors and Raptors games so they're visible." Jalen Rose, I don't think it's super surprising breaking news that a team wants to have Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant on it. I do think it's interesting that they're sending executives to the games and they're obsessed with adding these two.
Because they're game changers. And so look at the dynamics of a team like the Clippers. Kawhi's from California. We believe this will be KD's final season in Golden State.
Feels like it.
So what do you do to lure those guys? The Clippers put a quality product out on the floor, starting with Jerry West, one of the greatest executives and players of all time. Doc Rivers established himself as one of the best coaches of all time. And they put together a working man's lineup.
Yep.
What do I mean by that? A bunch of guys that have never been all-stars.
Probably no all-stars.
But know who they are. Tobias Harris, Gallinari, Montrezl Harrell, Patrick Beverly, the rookie Shai Gilgeous-Alexander playing quality minutes. You know what you're going to get out of those guys. Lou Williams. And so now all of a sudden, instead of putting your squad in a spot to where it almost looks like they're tanking to try to get those guys, it's you do the opposite. And you sell to those guys, if you come join this group, we automatically got something special right off top.
It's interesting, especially when we always talk about this free agent class this summer, but there's no real landing spot for Durant. You know what I mean? Like people talk about the Knicks. What if you add Durant to this Knicks team? They're not contending in the East.
Here's what I would like to see from KD. And by the way, he's not taking advice on his career from me. But with that being said, I've seen him play with Russ, seen him play with Harden. Those guys have been MVPs in the game along with him. I see him play with Steph, been an MVP. Get to play with Clay, get to play with Draymond, even get to play with Boogie. I don't want to necessarily see him play with Kawhi.
Yeah, but I know, but Jalen, what's the point of being? What does he have to prove? I'm going to go to the Brooklyn Nets and I'm going to take this Nets roster and build my own super team, and I'm going to do it my way. So Jalen Rose and the other retired veterans are going to respect me. Well, is that really something to chase?
People like you are using the term super team incorrectly. A super team is a squad that has multiple All-NBA performers on it. Okay, not many teams other than the Golden State Warriors or the 76ers can do that, can boast that. So there are not many super teams that exist. But I don't necessarily, I've seen him play with all of the top players in the game except LeBron. I'd love to see him play against those guys.
Okay. But here's the thing. Look at this. The Clippers, they have 2 open slots. If they can get Kawhi and KD, if you're KD, you say, you know what? I don't want to join this working man's team that you decided. I don't want to join this team because, you know what? I want to play against Kawhi. I don't want to play with Kawhi. That's just backwards logic to me.
Well, how about this? Well, the national media does a groupie thing that they don't realize, is that we're trying to continue to push the narrative of him going to L.A. The Nets got 2 salary spots. This ain't breaking news. This didn't just happen. It didn't just free up this money on their books last night. They did this in the offseason.
It's a good point.
So now he's in L.A. and not even playing. We are just doubling down on that narrative so that now, we got LeBron with the Lakers and we got Kawhi KD with the Clippers. That's something special for what we do for a living. If I'm KD, I've already done that in Golden State.
Here's another thing. These executives that they're flying around to these games, like, they probably just want to get away from their families. You want me to fly to Toronto to watch Kawhi Leonard play basketball? Like, I can watch Kawhi Leonard play basketball on my TV.
Well, it's not a tough flight if you're on the East Coast. It's only an hour. And by the way, if you get paid to be an executive in the NBA, I would think that it's your job to actually fly around and give FaceTime to the players in the league. That's
Sounds like tampering.
That's basic service.
Well, the Raptors are going to go from Los Angeles to Northern California, where at 10:30 tonight on ESPN, they will take on the Golden State Warriors. This is the best team in the East, in my opinion, playing against the best team in the West. It's an objective fact. Jalen, do you think the Warriors, because not every regular season game is the same, do you think the Warriors send a message tonight? Do you think they try to blow out the Raptors? Do you think that they have a little huddle before the game and say, let's really win this one?
We got to see if Kawhi Leonard's going to play. That's a key. But yes, the Golden State Warriors are into sending a message because they're into showing the league that they have what it takes to win 3 straight championships. Mm-hmm. And this is a team that they could legitimately face, a team that is legitimately not only last year the number 1 seed in the East, also this season. And so when you play against that squad, you want to see plays that work, matchups that work, and also you're going to see the ones that don't. I'm going to take you deeper in the box score. Here's what to watch for.
What are we watching for?
Serge Ibaka versus Draymond Green. On one end, Draymond Green initiates offense. He grabs and goes off the backboard and create fast break situation, and he allows Steph, Clay, and KD to run and not be so ball dominant.
He does so much for this team.
Serge is the exact opposite. Okay, he's there to rim protect, to rebound, to set screens, and occasionally the ball, something went wrong. Make a jump shot. But those 2 guys and their effectiveness is going to drive a lot of what happens and could easily determine who's going to be the winner or loser.
We'll be watching for that tonight at 10:30. Big finals preview matchup. Right now, Jalen Rose, it's time for Statue News. So, Jalen Rose, you are the senior statue analyst, not just of this company, but of the world. And you are so because you understand that a statue is the highest accomplishment that an athlete can get. Beyond championships, beyond getting your number retired, even beyond the Hall of Fame, you consider the statue the pinnacle.
I do.
Right? Well, Kevin Durant had something to say to Yahoo Sports about his future, potentially, in a statue.
I know for a fact that we'll all get our jerseys retired. We'll probably all get statues here in front of the Chase Center. We'll be Bay Area legends forever, meaning that people will recognize this team and this run forever in this area. Steve Kerr is going to be immortalized. He's going to be a legend forever. Bob Myers as well, and Joe Lacob.
Jalen Rose, I know for a fact that we're going to get our jerseys retired, and we'll probably get statues outside the Chase Center. As the senior statue analyst, not just of the company, but of the world, what do you think about Mr. Durant's comments?
I got some breaking news from Mr. Durant.
What's that?
If he leaves Golden State after this year, he ain't getting a statue in Oklahoma City or Golden State.
I bet they don't even retire
Not
his jersey.
gonna be able to do
They don't retire his number if he leaves this year.
Okay. Now, Steph's getting a statue.
Sure.
Russell's getting a statue. LeBron, Dirk, Vince Carter, current players that are getting statues. Dwayne Wade is getting a statue.
Kevin Durant's not getting a statue.
He won't be getting one. Not if he leaves this year. This is his chance to do it. in order for that to happen, you got to be somewhere for an extended period of time.
You can't go for 3 years and expect a statue. Statue stays forever. They should probably just put a statue up and take it down after 3 years. That's what they should do.
No.
They should give him a statue.
If he bounces after this year, they probably will retire his number because he deserves it and they won multiple championships and he was finals MVP. He absolutely, positively will not get a statue if he bounces.
Can I do the media thing and read too much into this? This sounds like someone who's leaving. This sounds like he's talking about this era. You know what I mean? He's talking about we're going to be remembered here forever. This sounds like this is, look, I'm going to read too much into it.
Okay.
This sounds like someone who's leaving. This sounds like someone who's I'm putting a cap on this era. We're going to be remembered forever here. It's him saying to the people, look, I did my thing here. I created an era. I brought you 3 straight championships. Bye.
Or media guy, it could say that he's actually staying and planning on being there for a long time because the last time I checked, he hasn't played in the Chase Center yet. It isn't open until next season.
He's going to play the Chase Center in a different jersey when he's on the road. Coming up next on Jalen and Jacoby, Jimmy Butler detailed that infamous practice where he screamed on everybody, and I love the details. We'll give them to you after this.
Got to give the people time. Give the people what they want.
Coming to you live from the Heineken River Deck at Pier 17 in the South Street Seaport District of Manhattan. It is Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, the Podfather, and the Ringer have been making some news with their
William
podcast.
Simmons.
We had Steph talking about the moon, and now on JJ Redick's podcast, he had his new teammate Jimmy Butler on, and they discussed that practice. And you know the practice I'm talking about in Minnesota, and they discussed details. Let's listen to Jimmy Butler talk about the infamous Minnesota practice.
The most interesting detail of that whole scrimmage that nobody knows, I only shot the ball once.
Really?
I only shot the ball one time. I only shot the ball once.
But every quote coming out of there is like Jimmy was getting buckets and he was dominating.
I was dominating, but I only shot the ball once. Dimes, boom, 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 steals, blocks. I only shot the ball one time.
Huh. Only shot the ball one time in that scrimmage. What does that tell you, Jalen Rose?
I think this is one of those topics that people that didn't play are more enamored with.
Oh, I like this.
The people that did play.
Oh, I like this.
I always thought like our infatuation about how that practice went and the overtone of the scenario was overblown by the media. Because what ends up happening in these scenarios, take it from somebody that's been traded a couple of times, unhappy with his situation a couple of times, that's what you do as a competitor. I ain't going to put it all out here in practice since for whatever reason I don't get the chance or I'm not going to be able to do it in the game. So he was sending a message to his team. He was sending a message to ownership. And as you look forward, now it seems what he was doing with Karl Anthony Towns in a lot of ways is transferring to what is going to happen if he and Joel Embiid is going to be successful. In particular, since Joel came out and acknowledged that he wasn't necessarily happy with how Coach Brett Brown was using him. And I also noticed that he and Ben Simmons are rocking headbands because they locked down on D. I don't think it's a coincidence that they're the only two people wearing them.
Do you think Jimmy Butler stays in the 76ers for next season?
I think it's too early to determine.
That's fair. That's fair. But I could see a scenario in which they get bounced in the second round of the playoffs, and the Philadelphia front office gets together and says, you know what? Maybe Jimmy Butler is not the future of our franchise.
I don't think it's going to be because the franchise doesn't want to sign him. I think what ends up happening is you're going to realize the options that you have when the season ends, and you get a chance to allow this body of work to play out. You want to see how your teammates are going to perform in the regular season. As you mentioned, how they're going to perform in the playoffs. The Boston Celtics aren't going anywhere.
No.
They're already deep. They have assets. They have a great coach. And so it's going to be interesting and fascinating. But I think what happens on the floor is still going to determine whether he stays long term.
Interesting. Well, we'll be keeping an eye on that. 176er who's in the news for the wrong reasons is a gentleman by the name of Markelle Fultz. And an Arizona radio host, John Gambardo, shout to him, He tweeted this about the Suns and Fultz. He tweeted, there have been a lot of people asking about a trade for Markelle Fultz. I will reiterate that I do not see it. From what I am hearing, the Suns have no interest in Fultz, no desire to take on him and any issues he has. Jalen Rose, it's bad when the Phoenix Suns don't want you on the roster. What is this one radio host sort of like, what he's hearing from the Suns? What does that tell you about the market for Markelle?
Well, the Suns over the last handful of years have actually done a terrific job of acquiring people to play guard. The problem is they play better when they go somewhere else.
Yep.
And you look no further than Isaiah Thomas, Eric Bledsoe, Brandon Knight. Like, the list goes on and on. The lefty from Miami. Dragic. And so they have Booker now. They're trying to find somebody to pair with him that could be the primary ball handler so that he doesn't have to have that responsibility so very often and can focus on scoring. With that backdrop, Markelle Fultz just does not fit. Now, it seems like the other thing the Phoenix Suns may be doing, and this is coming from executives and personnel of other teams, are they trying to help the Lakers get better?
It feels like it. James Jones and LeBron are cool. We know that.
Because
LeBron
we saw what
made James
happened
Jones
with
some
Tyson
money.
Chandler. Allegedly, we hear what may happen with Trevor Ariza, and he's already sitting out games as a healthy scratch.
Ariza would be a perfect fit for this Lakers team. He would be a perfect fit.
He'd be a perfect fit for a lot of teams.
He would. I would love to see him on the Lakers.
Of course, you're in the national media. We want everybody to go to L.A.
Oh, yeah, of course we do. And I don't want him to see him on the Clippers. I want KD to come to the Lakers and play with LeBron. I want it all to be a smokescreen. That's what I want to have happen.
What about him going somewhere else on the East Coast?
I'm good. It's time for News That Matters. Jalen Rose, Cubs manager Joe Madden, eclectic personality. He says that he is reading Understanding Millennials for Dummies so he can better understand his players. Jalen Rose, do you understand millennials?
I hope so, and this is really intelligent for him to do because it highlights the fact that not only is he passionate about his profession and wanting to be the best skipper he can be, he's going to take time and energy to learn where they come from. What ends up happening is, as each generation passes, we all do this.
Yep.
We feel like the one behind us has it easier.
Of course.
We feel
Doesn't
like
work as hard.
Correct.
Yeah, it's always the same.
It's always the same. In music, in movies, and with people, it's all the same. So for him to take this step, I like this. But he did something that I would not have done as a chess move. The things that I do personally for improvement, for competitive nature, I don't share with the public.
That's what I'm saying. That's the one thing that bothers me about this. It seems like he might, you know what? I say I read a lot of books, but I only read the first 10 pages. This is what this feels like.
Cliff Notes.
Yeah, this is what this feels like.
It feels like when LeBron said he watched The Godfather every night but couldn't recite any scenes.
Yeah, exactly. He's carrying the book around like, LeBron, you're not reading The Godfather from front to back. You know what I mean? Like, this seems like a little bit for show. And also, I'm gonna confess something. I've read a couple of those For Dummies books and not understood them. I need Managing Millennials for Dummies for real dummies if I was going to read that. I don't understand millennials, but I'm fine with that. And you know what thing I'm not going to do, Jalen Rose? One thing I'm not going to do like, oh, millennials have it so easy. It's so hard to communicate with them. They're so obsessed with social media and their phones. They don't know how to work hard. They don't understand the world. I cannot stand that, like,
well, hold on,
intergenerational. Don't do it.
Well, some of that is true.
No, Jalen, it's not.
Some of that is
not true.
So there are some young people that aren't being paid to do so, that spend way too much time and energy on social media.
That's
when
fine.
They could be practicing a craft, improving in academics.
That's fine.
Improving at whatever they're passionate about.
That's no different than any other generation.
Correct.
It's no different than any other generation.
I'm here to start a new rule.
Oh, you got a
based
new
on
rule?
this competition.
You got a new rule?
I wish, for example, on IG, there was a limit to what you can post, how many, and a limit to what you can like. Imagine if you only get a certain amount of likes a day. Then you had to be selective about actually what you did. Or you could just do it unlimited. To me, it has no merit at that point. What are your thoughts?
I like that a lot. And our friend and colleague Kevin Wilds came up with this. Once a week, super like. You could drop a super like on somebody once a week. I love that idea.
I really wish.
Get at us, Instagram.
I really wish that.
I do like the idea of limiting the posts, especially stories. If I see you've got 35 little story dots, I ain't watching any of them. Come on now. Coming up next on Jalen and Jacoby, we have a special guest. Our guy, Marcus Spears, joins us next. Stay tuned for that. Big games on ESPN tonight starting at 8. The Thunder going to New Orleans to take on the Pelicans. And then after that, the matchup I've been waiting for. The Raptors head into the Bay to play the Golden State Warriors. Can't wait for that one. And, of course, Christmas Day. Huge lineup. Not just talking about Jalen Rose's head, talking about the games on ESPN and ABC all day on Christmas. And every morning, Get Up with the Get Up crew. They'll be talking about Mahomes and Rivers going head-to-head, big game. And they'll be talking about the big matchup between the Raptors and the Warriors. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby, our guy, the big swag coming, rising media star, taking over sports media one day at a time. Marcus Spears is here. I'm going to focus on his handshake, get it right, perfect.
The team.
Back. Marcus, still about 2.5 weeks until the college football playoff starts, but it's never too early to get hyped.
Never too early. It's my wheelhouse right now.
Here's the problem, Marcus. I feel like it's going to be Clemson in Alabama. Like, it just feels kind of like, what do we have? What has to happen for us to see an upset in these first two games?
In the first one with Bama and Oklahoma, Kyler Murray is going to have to earn every bit of that Heisman Trophy.
Yeah.
Right? It's going to have to be one of those Deshaun Watson-esque performances. Here's the problem with Oklahoma, though. They are so bad on defense.
So bad.
Yeah,
and this is the first year where barring Tua is healthy, this is the first year you're going to catch Alabama where they can put 70 on them.
That's the thing is that Oklahoma can put up 49 points and lose.
Listen, this was last year when Oklahoma played Georgia, J. Rose. Sonny Michel averaged 16 yards a carry. Hold on, perspective. 2 first downs a carry almost. And the second guy, I don't want to call him his backup, Nick Chubb, who he rotates with, averaged 10 yards a carry. So what is Nick Saban going to do? All right, this is what he's going to do, because this is what people forget about Alabama because of Tua. He's going to condense the game. He's going to hand the ball off to Damian Harris and Najee Harris and Josh Jacobs. He's going to lean on the big physical offensive line where it's about 3 first-rounders up there. Yep. They just not eligible yet, other than Jonah Williams, who's going to go in the first round probably. And they're going to shorten the game. And Kyler Murray is going to end up with 5 or 6 less possessions than he usually gets in the Big 12 matchup because your defense is horrible, right? So I'm a bludgeon you at the line of scrimmage because you've shown all year you can't fight it.
Notre Dame got a chance?
Notre Dame, as crazy as this seems, I think they do.
Talk to me.
Because
Make it interesting for me.
They're more balanced. They're more balanced, right? And we're talking about one game. All right, we're not talking about this is not 7 games. UCF and LSU plays, and everybody talking about, well, LSU should blast UCF. No, it's one game of a scheme you hadn't seen. But going back to what you asked, when you look at Notre Dame, what they do successfully, Clemson only gives up 2 yards a carry in the rush, and everybody's talked about this defensive line. McShay right now has 3 guys off this defensive line going first round, and they all going top 15. As crazy as that sounds, they've been giving up 2 yards. Notre Dame rushes for 6. So what gives there? And then Ian Book came in, the backup quarterback, and now who's the starter and has shown the ability to push the ball downfield. The only discrepancy that Clemson has had defensively is their secondary. They've given up some things. Yep. South Carolina, Jake Bentley threw for almost 500 yards against them. Now, I know it's a rivalry game. They know a lot of guys. I mean, South Carolina almost put 500 yards offense. I think 300 of it was through the air. Ian Book has shown that he can do that. Notre Dame has big physical receivers.
Jalen Rose, he mentioned Kyler Murray, the Heisman Trophy winner. And the story on Kyler Murray is he's going to play baseball. We've talked about this. I think he should play football or both. What do you think would be best for Kyler Murray? He called your phone and said, Jalen, you're an OG. I need your advice, Unc. What should I do?
If I'm him and all things equal and I got a chance to be great at both, baseball.
Why's that?
Longevity, no concussions, no opioids, guaranteed contracts. You don't have to worry about getting your knee blown out on a given play. Should I go on?
Well,
and Kyler Murray 5'9".
You really think that's a thing?
It is a thing. Trying to stand behind 6'4" linemen.
Are you trying to say that he cannot be an NFL quarterback at 5'9"?
He's shorter than Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson's balling.
He's shorter.
That's fine. See, I've never really understood this.
Yeah,
Why
because
not?
the line in front of you, you can't see.
It's the
passing
vision.
lanes.
It's the vision. And
Can't
you're
see
not
the
gonna
whole
create.
field.
You're not gonna create a system for Kyler Murray like Lincoln Riley has created at Oklahoma. That like, here's the thing people don't understand about the NFL. All 11 guys are good when you get on that level, right? So, yeah, you got RPOs and all of that stuff where they trying to implement in the college game. You got to have dudes that can run it. Now, Kyler Murray, to me, in an NFL setting, when you're talking about offensive linemen, to your point, 6'4", 6'5", and you got to maneuver around them, it's different, man.
Here's the thing. He probably won't even start in the major leagues.
It don't
he's
matter.
He's going to be like a AA, AAA, riding buses, playing in front of families, 400 people at the stadium. They got Mark Sanchez starting football games in the NFL.
How much
start
money,
football games in
how
the
much
NFL.
money did Bryce Harper just turn down?
What was it?
300.
$500 million. Yeah.
And we raving about Aaron Rodgers getting 100 guaranteed. I just saw McCutcheon, I think, signed with Philly for a 3-year, $58 million deal, and that's a poor man's deal in the major leagues. Kyler Murray went 9th. You know what that does for him? That's going to give him every opportunity to go to the major leagues. They are going to fight, scratch, and claw. Even if he ain't good enough, somebody going to call him up one day and try to give him a shot up there. And the number one thing he can do, I know both of y'all remember this name because y'all respect the game. Y'all remember Ricky Henderson?
Duh, of course. Remember Ricky Henderson.
Ricky Henderson
Legend.
got on base and stole every base.
No
Kyler
question.
Murray has that type of juice.
Okay.
So even if he's not a prolific hitter, which he was in college, and he plays a shortstop position as well, even if he's not that, hey, man, we're going to get this guy on base. We're going to put you on first. I need you to get the second
So
every time.
you know, I'm glad you brought him up. Ricky Henderson is one of my favorite athletes of
All
all
time.
Love Ricky Henderson.
He's dope. He
How
the
about
GOAT.
this?
He the
His
GOAT.
first check for $1 million, he framed it.
Framed it, kept
$1
it.
million.
And never cashed it.
$1 million.
I love the dude, man.
Marcus, I'm so glad you're here today because I have to ask you about this. Eric Reed. I don't remember Eric Reed.
Yep.
Playing football now. And he was saying, you know what? I'm getting a lot of random drug tests from the league. And now he has been fined 3 times for hits. The latest was a hit against a Buccaneer, and he wasn't even flagged for it. He got fined $26,000. He's adding these instances into his collusion case against the NFL. Do you think the NFL has singled out Eric Reed because of his support of Kaepernick and taking a knee during the game?
Yes, and I'll tell you why. Because we've seen this movie before, just in other situations. Like there's a preconceived notion before the game even starts, right? And if we can catch him on anything, we're gonna catch him on it. We're gonna give him the juice. Look, let's be honest. This Kaepernick situation is still lingering. And everybody that was attached and tied to it, that is still in the NFL, don't think that there's not more attention being paid to them. Are the hits bad? Possibly. Sure. But does a guy get that much attention? No. But because of Eric Reed and his stance and what he did with Cap, and also he's still fighting the battle as well. So when you think about it from that context, there could be validity to it. But with that being said, Odell got a bunch of drug tests as well. This would be the league's rebuttal. Because Odell came out and was like, I keep getting drug tests. I ain't taking it.
Odell got some different videos out there of him laying in the bed eating bad pizza.
I get it. But my point is, when you associate yourself with anything that they can give to the media or to the public that this is why we're doing this way, then you open yourself up to that. I'm sure Eric Reed knows that.
Jalen, you still think that they're going to win this collusion case in the court of law?
1,000% Colin Kaepernick is going to win his collusion case. All he has to do is show up with a laundry list of second and third string NFL quarterbacks that have gotten checks to play football the last couple of years. They're looking for people to come play that have not been in the league. An arena league guy got an opportunity to play. Derek Anderson was out of the league. Okay, what about Nathan Peterman?
6 picks in the first half.
Mark Sanchez. Started a football game in the NFL. It's out of control.
Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
If we don't have to move along. This is why I love y'all, because we talk about these type of things. What in the hell is the NFL going to say? And what is one of those 32 organizations? Let's not even take the 32. Remove the guys that's stable at the quarterback position. The unstable teams
probably about 10.
at the QB position.
Like 15?
Yeah.
What is going to be their excuse for not bringing in Kaepernick?
Distraction. Don't want the distraction.
Absolutely.
That's the
and why is it, what distraction?
Are you ready for the other one? Or the system?
No, it doesn't fit the system. Yeah, it doesn't fit the system.
Yeah, we've heard that for 400 years.
The distraction.
The system.
The distraction one is the one that kills me. It's the one that kills me, man.
Marcus Spears will stay with us. When we come back, it is time for Soft Move or Boss Move. Live from the Heineken River Deck here on Pier 17 in Manhattan, it is Jalen Jacoby. We are still joined by Marcus Spears. Thanks so much for doing the show.
The homie.
Always, man.
It's time for Soft Move or Boss Move.
Oh, this is my favorite.
You know how this works, Marcus. I don't have to explain it.
Yes.
Here's the thing. We're starting Soft Move or Boss Move with the Don't Get Fired topic of the day. Buckle up, everybody. Buckle up, everybody. Be careful what you say, Marcus. We don't want you to get fired on our watch, okay? Atlanta United won the MLS Cup. So it's Atlanta. What did they do? They celebrated. They celebrated with the confetti, and then after the confetti was raining down, they took the cup to Magic City. Celebrated with the ones raining down. We had to blur everything in that photo except for the MLS Cup. I'll start with you, Jalen Rose. Boss move or super boss move? Taking the MLS Cup to Magic City.
No question about it. This program got started in Atlanta at an adult entertainment
that may or may not be where Jalen and I first met.
I remember being in Magic City when I was down there for Freaknik. Okay. When Outkast's first album came out, I need to get to Atlanta. And it's one of the places, and I'm pretty sure you know this, Marcus, that you can actually go to a different strip club every night.
Hey, listen. It's one of the greatest places in the world.
Don't get fired, Marcus. Don't get fired. You're a rising star, Marcus.
Atlanta, GA, Hot Atlanta, as I call it.
Preach.
One of the great places in the world. First of all, people got to understand, it's a boss move. I like super boss move for this because Magic City is a staple.
Yes.
Yes.
In the city.
It was Monday night, too.
Yeah.
Don't get fired. You're a rising star, Marcus.
Atlanta, GA, Hot Atlanta, as I call it.
Preach.
One of the great places in the world. First of all, people got to understand, it's a boss move. I like super boss move for this because Magic City is a staple.
Yes.
Yes.
In the city.
It was Monday night, too.
Yeah.
Monday night.
That's the night.
That's why they went to Magic City. Also, I like that they bought the trophy a lap dance. You know what I mean? I really like that. Buying inanimate objects lap dances is always a boss move.
Actually, something that kind of flies around. Stem cells was hard.
As an athlete, a professional one, like he's gotten paid because of taking care of himself, because of his health, because of the ability to not only perform mentally but physically. So to do whatever you can to keep that longevity going, you got to support that.
So, Jalen, this next one I really have some footage I need you to see. This is footage of a Taiwanese woman, right? And, you know, we always say we don't make fun of people for things they can't control. And she cannot control that her feet look like this.
Okay.
Jalen Rose, being proud of your finger toes and putting them on the internet for everyone to look at, soft move or boss move?
Boss move. Because so many times, especially with social media,
he's grabbing a pen.
People look themselves in the mirror and for whatever reason, they see their manager or their agent and not themselves. We all have insecurities. We all have things that we feel like should be better about ourselves. I appreciate people that embrace things that other people may tease them for.
I like how she was embracing the pen with her toes there.
It's how you play it.
Yeah.
It's all about how you play it.
I bet she can find somebody to massage those
I'm 300
dogs.
pounds. I'm 300 pounds, but I carry myself like I'm 180 in European.
You look great. You look great.
So, yeah, I can shop in Milan.
For your wife.
They won't follow you around the store. They won't let you in the
store. They already follow.
Yeah. So in China, right? In China, they've got some very serious anti-pornography laws. And in China, if you report someone watching, sharing, or creating pornography, you can snitch on them to the government and you will get paid $86,000. The equivalent of an average annual salary in China. Marcus, snitching on someone watching porn and getting paid $86,000. Soft move or boss move? He's thinking about it.
You said 86 racks?
86.
Soft move.
Yeah, I don't think you can do it.
I've actually heard this before, but man, 86 though? 2 of them a year, dog. 2 of them a year, yo.
You catch 3 people, you got 300,000.
Listen.
I'll snitch on myself for 86,000.
Just do your time and come get your bag.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
I don't know. I might get them bags. It's a soft move.
It's a soft bread.
So, Jalen, earlier you mentioned insecurities, and we had an emotional show yesterday, Marcus. Jalen opened up to us about something, and he said that he was concerned he was going to give up his waves.
Oh.
You know what I mean? He said he was going to give up his waves. And we're like, Jalen, you're known for your waves, your hairline, this is part of your brand, don't ever do it. And he said he was a little concerned about it giving the do-rag giving him lines on his forehead. Okay? So our producer, Reggie, suggested that he wear not one do-rag.
Reggie said this is what he does.
2 do-rags, but wear 3 do-rags at once to avoid having a line on your forehead. Soft move or boss move, Marcus, wearing 3 do-rags at the same time.
I don't understand how it stop a line, though.
That's what I don't understand either. I don't understand it at all.
It seems like it would make a deeper line.
Yeah.
3 times.
Soft move or boss move, 3 do-rags at once.
It's a soft move.
Yes, it is.
It's a soft move. I didn't even know that existed.
You're going to tie one do-rag on your head, then tie another one, and then tie another one?
Yeah, that's dumb. But, sorry, Reg, that's dumb as hell. Jay, you can't get rid of the waves, dog. Do you know how many dudes want that palette?
I know.
Look at my head. Like my forehead damn near in the Middle East now. I mean, my hairline is almost in the Middle East, bro. You still on home ground. Don't change a thing.
I know. Do it
Don't
for
change
us.
a thing, man.
Do it,
yeah.
Creeping in the corners.
All right,
you know what I mean? You got something to aspire to. Keep the waves, Jalen.
You get rid of the waves when you no longer
I ain't rocking 3 do-rags.
No, don't do that.
No.
That's a
I don't
soft
think
move.
That's a damn migraine.
You think Reggie's lying?
Reggie, you're lying to the people.
I think you're lying to the people, Reg. Marcus, thank you so much for coming
My
through.
guys,
Appreciate
as
it.
always.
Anytime you're welcome back. You can catch Marcus on SEC Network. You can catch Marcus on Get Up. You can catch Marcus on internet. You can catch Marcus everywhere. We'll be back with
Marcus
more.
Spears, the
My brothers.
rising star in
My
the
brothers.
industry.
That's right.
My brother.
We'll be back with more right after this. Tony Romo has not officially filed retirement papers, becoming part of the media before actually retiring as a professional athlete. Soft move or boss move?
Wrong side.
What's happening?
Boss move.
That was the best thing that ever happened on the show. First of all, you didn't know where the tattoo was on your chest. He was like, oh, wrong side. It's your own chest.
I was looking in the mirror.
You're the best.
Got to give the people time. Give people what.
Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose. The Houston Rockets showed a little signs of life last night against the Trailblazers. James Harden and company beat the Trailblazers 111-103. Jalen, do you think the Rockets can turn the season around?
I don't think that they could get to the level where they're going to host a playoff series at home, but they'll be a dangerous playoff team if healthy. You have the reigning MVP in James Harden. Chris Paul, we already know what he's able to accomplish out there on the floor. He played well. He had a triple-double.
Yep.
Capella, there's a reason why they gave him a big contract. The key for this team is the depth. I can rely on Eric Gordon, but the other players are now giving them quality minutes. That's why they won their game. Nene, Gerald Green. So they're going to need those guys if they're going to make a long run to continue to improve. But more importantly, I just feel like this team needs to make a move.
Yes.
I think that really would give it a different facelift if they're able to add like a rotation player that can either lock down on D and or make a three, because they need one more guy, in my opinion.
Could you see Trevor Ariza? I know we talk about him going to the Lakers. Could we see him back in a Rockets uniform?
Possible. And I talk about the balance of power a lot, and you know how I really don't love the fact that we're talking about a player currently on a team getting paid $15 million to play.
I wonder what the plan was in the first place.
But we all know he's not going to finish the season with that team.
What was the plan in the first place? Did y'all really think you're going to make the playoffs, Phoenix Suns? Do you think that Trevor Ariza was the missing piece that was going to bring you guys into the playoffs?
Well, the plan for him
the lottery?
to get my bread.
Oh yeah, I'm not mad at him.
You know
I just think from the Suns, like, what were they really, really doing?
So like now, think about it. He's being recruited right now.
Oh yeah,
he's a healthy scratch.
He's got a lot of text messages
right now.
He got a lot of text messages.
It's gonna be interesting to see. Is he gonna go home to California and play for the Lakers, or is he gonna go back to Houston where they put them in State Farm commercials?
Chris Paul isn't having a great year. He's got 3 more years on his contract. You mentioned he had a triple-double last night. Do you think we've seen the best?
To California and play for the Lakers, or is he going to go back to Houston where they put them in State Farm commercials?
Chris Paul isn't having a great year. He's got 3. Do you think we've seen the best?
To California and play for the Lakers, or is he going to go back to Houston where they put them in State Farm commercials?
Chris Paul isn't having a great year. He's got 3 last night. Do you think we've seen the best?
To California and play for the Lakers, or is he going to go back to Houston where they put them in State Farm commercials?
Chris Paul isn't having a great year. He's got 3 last night.
I think now this is the moment for them to finally say, you know what, we got to start playing better basketball.
I want to thank Marcus Spears for coming by. It's always fun to have him on the show. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast. You can listen to our podcast anywhere.
Thank you.
You listen to podcasts.
You are far
We'll be back tomorrow.
too kind.
You got to give the people